What is up, everyone? Zoop here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Thunderer, a Tier 10 premium Royal Navy battleship currently available for free XP. This ship is a joke, literally. I mean, to understand this, you have to understand the history of this ship. The Thunderer literally started as a joke ship. In fact, it was the brainchild of Little White Mouse as a means to troll the community in a friendly way. This was her 100th ship review back in May of 2018, which shows you how long this ship has been floating around. It's even more funny because her made-up stats wound up mirroring the true-to-life Thunderer, though she said it'd be Tier 9 and available for 750,000 free XP. She also said it would have Hydro, but it wound up having defensive fire instead. Only after reading through her entire review did you finally discover that it was a fake boat. Even still, for a while, players thought the Thunderer was real, and I'm sure some still did up to the release, and when it was announced that it would be real. And now here we are. Thunderer is indeed real, and Little White Mouse has made her mark indelibly on the game with the introduction of the Thunderer. So, let's talk Thunderer stats, and how she differs from the Conqueror. This comparison will likely be the going factor in whether or not you want to purchase her with your free XP, especially with the Friesland out there right now, which is a stellar destroyer, one that I've already reviewed and given my full endorsement. You'll be hard-pressed to notice any differences between the Thunderer and the Conqueror visually. They look almost the exact same with the exception of their guns and their camouflage. Both the Thunderer and Conqueror have 82,900 hit points, and both have the same 28% torpedo reduction. The difference in these ships is all about the guns. Thunderer has 4x2 457mm guns with 24.3 kilometer range, while the Conqueror has 4x3 419mm guns with the same range. Thunderer reloads at 22.9 seconds with the reload module, while Conqueror reloads at 26.4 with the same module. So one has bigger shells and less guns, the other has more guns but smaller shells. Which is better? That's what we're going to try and find out. Secondaries on both ships are the same at 6.3 kilometers, but you aren't playing this ship for the secondaries. Anti-aircraft is also the same on these ships, with the game rating it 82 out of 100. However, Thunderer gets defensive fire, which is something the Conqueror does not have. Your top speed on both ships is going to be the same at 31 knots with Sierra Mikes. Are you seeing a trend here? Pretty much the same ship in all other aspects. Well, almost all other. At 820 meters, the turning radius on both ships are the same. However, Thunderer has a rudder shift of 10.4 seconds versus the Conqueror's 17.3. That's a pretty big difference, and it gives the Thunderer an edge in maneuverability. Another difference on the Thunderer is its concealment, which has a lowest concealment value of 12.4 kilometers versus the Conqueror's 13. Thunderer also has 5 heals to the Conqueror's 4, but these heals have differences to them. Thunderer still has that great British heal that can heal back a lot, but the repair party only replenishes 596 hit points per second over 28 seconds when compared to the Conqueror's 1,989 over the course of 20 seconds. So the Conqueror heals a lot more, a lot quicker. We can see from this that the Thunderer does align favorably to the Conqueror. Both ships are very similar in many respects, though there are subtle differences. Now is the time, though, that we actually rate the Thunderer. Starting off with offense. Your guns are big, and they hit hard. Granted, you only have 8 of them, they're almost 18 inches. That's a lot of steel, and while I found the dispersion to be a little wonky at times, when these guns connect in the right place, they can hurt when using AP. And that's probably a term you didn't expect me to use. AP. The greatest thing about Thunderer is that its guns are highly versatile. While Conqueror is more known to be an HE spammer, Thunderer is anything but. Now you can play it as an HE spammer if you so desire. If you do so, you can do almost as well as you can in the Conqueror. However, you can do just as well using AP. Both rounds work extremely well on this ship. It's a nice thing having the ability to use both types of shells. It creates versatility and replay for the player. The only problem with the AP is that wonkiness I mentioned. Sometimes you'll have rounds where your AP connects and it's Citadel City. Other times, they don't land where you want them to, or they will, but for some reason do minimal damage. I found that for some reason the AP on Thunderer does better when aiming a little above the waterline, instead of at it. Something to keep in mind. Regardless, if not for the dispersion that can be hit or miss, I would have given these guns a 10 out of 10. However, I find a 9 perfectly suitable for their lethality and versatility. Defensively, the Thunderer has some very good features that keep her alive. First, you have your better than average battleship concealment. You also have your not as good as Conqueror, but better than average battleship heal. It heals back a lot, just not as quickly as the Conqueror. These are the things that help keep the Thunderer alive. Despite those things though, you are indeed very squishy, even when angled. Other battleships with like-sized guns will do more damage against you than you can do against them. Plus, as with the Conqueror, you catch fire a lot easier than most battleships. This balances out your guns though, and I think the defensive capabilities of the ship are right where they need to be. One other item does give Thunderer a slightly better defensive score than she or the Conqueror would otherwise earn. Thunderer gets defensive fire to supplement her decent AA. For defense, Thunderer earns herself an 8 out of 10. Maneuverability on the Thunder isn't too bad for a battleship. It's nothing to write home about, but your rudder shift is still better than the Conqueror's, giving you an advantage trying to get out of trouble. 31 knots of speed with Sierra Mikes is a little on the slow side, even for a tier 10 battleship though. So for that, the maneuverability on the Thunderer is a 7 out of 10. For competitive, you do in fact see Conquerors every now and then. I suspect players like them for their concealment and ability to farm battleship damage. Thunderer is no different. I'm certain there'll be a fair amount of players that fall in love with her and use her in clan battles. However, I don't see a compelling reason to use her in a King of the Seas type setting over the usual battleships. That's not to say you won't see her, I just don't think her benefits are suited to a more competitive scene. For competitive, Thunder gets a 6 out of 10. Fun factor. The all-important fun factor. Is Conqueror a fun ship? I would imagine players that love it would say so. Though Conqueror was and still is the bane of many players, it's still a fun ship for many players for whatever reason. But we're not talking about the Conqueror right now, we're talking about the Thunderer. And I suspect that the Thunderer will be a fan favorite as well, for those same players even possibly. The thing about the Thunderer is, she adds versatility. It takes some of the best traits of the Conqueror and builds upon them. The inclusion of good AP makes you rethink how to use her a little bit, but that's a good thing. For fun factor, I'm giving the Thunderer an 8.5 out of 10. I think she can be a really fun ship, and I think a lot of players are going to enjoy her. So overall, the Thunderer earns herself an 8 out of 10, putting her firmly in the echelons of being a good ship. So what's my take on Thunderer? I like her better than the Conqueror. I've never been a fan of using HE on a battleship. With the Thunderer, you don't have to. However, if the need arises, or you just aren't feeling the AP on a particular day, you can fall back on the HE and you can do just as well. Thunderer is indeed the sister ship to the Conqueror. However, she has improved upon Conqueror's worst aspects to provide a much more balanced game experience. Personally, with the Thunderer, I don't see a reason many would go back to the Conqueror, unless they've just become so accustomed to using Conqueror's HE that they can't adapt. And that's fine. If that's what you're used to and you want to stick with it, go for it. But Thunderer adds something to the Royal Navy battleship line. In many ways, I feel Thunderer is exactly what the Conqueror should have been from the start. It took a while, but we finally got the Conqueror where we needed it to be. And that is the Thunderer. You can spend your XP on Thunderer knowing she is worth it. She gets my full endorsement. Anyhow, I want to know what you think of the Thunderer. And stay tuned, because there might be a chance to win one in the near future. Be sure to sub if you haven't already. Closing in on that magical 25,000 subscriber milestone. Big things are in store for that time period. Exciting times. Thank you all for watching. Take care. Zoop out.